Carvana has been banned from doing business in Illinois for the second time. Carvana is an interesting business. For those of you who are not familiar with Carvana and what it is, it's a used car business. It's similar to CarMax in some ways. Basically, they are they're a mass used car dealer. They sell basically all models, all makes, and they sell them in all states. So it's a good place to like one shop for used cars. Not necessarily the best price, but they provide a lot of options, and they are a massive company. The problem is Carvana in particular has a bit of a reputation for playing fast and loose with the rules and regulations as it requires car dealers. This is not the first time they've gotten into trouble, nor even in Illinois. They've gotten into trouble in other states for playing fast and loose with various things. For example, by illegally withholding people's titles or not having the title in their hands because of they're playing fast and loose with it, so they don't actually have the title because it's they're playing fast and loose in terms of the sequence of things, so they don't quite have title, but they're transferring it anyway on the hope that they'll be able to correct it quickly. And most of the time they do, of course, but every once in a while there's a snag, or not giving people their title, or otherwise having problems with being able to actually sell what they're purporting to sell. Because, warranty of title is one of the warranties, and not a non-waivable one at that. Incidentally, under the UCC,
oh yeah,
it is the only. Well, I don't know if it's the only. Strictly speaking, depends on your state, but at least under the UCC, is a non-waivable warranty. You have to be able to warrant that you are selling what you own. If that you can only sell what you own.
Oh yeah, that's it.
So
you can't sell something you don't own.
so Carvana has from time to time, because of the way that they deal with titles and stuff, sometimes they don't quite have title in hand, and they're selling the car anyway, so they get in trouble, among other incidences. Incidentally, with I'm not telling you not to buy from Carvana. Incidentally, I'd consider buying from Carvana. I'm simply saying they play a little fast and loose with the business regulations. So just FYI.
It's weird about this story with Carvana. They pronounce it Carvana. The interesting part about this is that this goes back to what we were saying before too. And this Carvana is in a lot of different states, and they're having no issue. They're doing the same practice. And Illinois is saying, well, hold on, in this state, in this particular jurisdiction, you can't do that, right? You can't. There are issues here, and these issues have to be solved before you can do it in this state. So it's interesting to see, because I'm surprised other states aren't doing the same thing, because it just makes sense. What you're saying makes sense. You got to have the title before you sell it. You can't sell something that's not yours. So it would make me question also too, if I'm in New York or whatever, do they really have the title? Is this something that just was Illinois specific, or is it something they're doing all over the country?
No, it's not. I've seen this come from North Carolina. I've seen this come from a couple other states. So Carvana definitely plays a little fast and loose sometimes. Anyway, so the Illinois Secretary of State has banned Carvana from doing business in the state of Illinois because of problems like this. And this is like, Carvana is also famous for having, I guess we'll call it, these multi-story towers that are like glass, so that they have these like vertical garages, I guess, where their cars are stored, which basically serves as an advertisement for Carvana, because they have these things that are multi-story, and you can see the cars inside there in glass. So it's like it's a big ass vending machine kind of, which is kind of cool, I suppose. But again, with the regulations, online car dealer Carvana has been barred from doing business in Illinois over issues with consumers receiving vehicle registrations and titles. Yeah, that's the problem. It's like, we can't give you the title because it's being held by Bob, but don't worry about it. Bob's good for it. The Illinois Secretary of State said Monday the car dealership license has been suspended because car buyers are not receiving their titles. That's a problem. It goes to a basic warranty of like when you're selling a thing, I own the thing. It's kind of, to be able to sell to you. The Secretary of State has said to Fox that Carvana unlawfully issued consumers temporary vehicle registrations from other states and have been doing so without a license remitter. So because of all the problems in Illinois, to get around that, even though the cars are being sold in Illinois, they're issuing car registrations from other states, because Carvana is a multiple state business. And so they're trying to get around these issues like, well, we can't do business in Illinois, but no problem. We're going to sell this car in Illinois, but we're going to pretend we're selling you this car out of wherever and issue you a registration from that state. Amazingly, Illinois has massive problems with this because you're getting around their ability to regulate the business. They're selling cars not necessarily with title. It's a problem.
Oh yeah, and it's interesting how they've been getting around it. But again, I think Illinois is doing the right thing, and like you can only sell it here. You can only sell cars that you own.
That is a basic. Once again, it's a basic provision in the UCC, let alone in a highly regulated industry like cars, which have their own set of regulations on top of them. The implied warranties: you sell an item to someone else. You say there are no warranties. Well, there are implied warranties, implied by law. What are these implied warranties? I'm so glad you asked. There is the warranty of title. I own the thing that I am purporting to sell. There is the warranty of merchantability. This thing is merchantable. That is, it is usable for what you think the product will normally be useful for. And then there's a warranty of what is it called? The warranty of specific purpose. Like I'm selling it in mind with you being able to do a specific thing with it. So a good example of that would be I'm selling you a washing machine. So the implied warranty of specific purpose is you're going to be able to wash clothes with it, right? That is what it is, right? Now, some of those warranties can be waived, but they have to be waived in writing. So you'll often see, like in especially on used, you'll see as is sold, and you'll see it says sold without express or implied warranties. So one of the things they're doing there is they're disclaiming those implied warranties. But of the 3 implied warranties, one of which cannot be disclaimed. No matter how much writing you have, it cannot be disclaimed. And that is the warranty of title. You cannot get out of warranting title. That is, you cannot get out of a basic premise that you own the thing that you're purporting to sell to me. And if you don't own the thing that you're purporting to sell to me, I'm going to be able to sue you no matter how much writing you have to the contrary, because we're not going to let you get outside of that. So warranty of title is kind of important in every deal.
But I'm assuming they can get around. There may be, all right, because for instance, there are pass-through companies and things of that nature that like I can sell, like for instance, what am I thinking about? I'm thinking about like auction houses. Right? They don't own the thing. They're selling someone else's thing. Right?
Well,
but there has to be some, but there has to be some relationship. In other words, I can sell it, but there has to be a deal between the seller and the person who owns it. That when they sell it, that person's gonna like you know what I mean. I know there's a way to do it where you don't have to own it. You can sell something you don't own, but there's like a process to that thing.
Well, in that situation, you're basically acting as a proxy.
Yes, all right, owner. That makes sense. Yeah.
So so I am now acting on your behalf to sell your thing, but so I'm just stepping into your shoes, and it's still like so you still have to have the title in the first place, and you better believe I want to protect my ass in this situation to make sure that when now I'm acting as a proxy, so I can be sued, that I'm protected.
So I got to make sure you have the title.
I'm going to make you sign 8,000 agreements. So that if that isn't true, I'm not on the hook for it. But so that's true, that's kind of how you get around that issue, right? And also, incidentally, this can be done. You give something to a store to sell it. They don't own the thing, but they give you a commission on the back end if they sell it. But you can take it back at any time. There's a special name for it. It's not used very often. That's why I'm having trouble remembering it. But you would see this, for example, in an antique dealership. So you could sell it to the antique dealer, obviously, and they could resell it. But that's not the only thing you can do. You can come into an arrangement where it's like, okay, I'm going to give you the thing, and the antique dealer, and if you sell it, you'll give me.
Oh, you're talking about consignment.
Consignment. Thank you. That was the word I was looking for. I just couldn't come up with it. So I was like, maybe if I describe it in enough vernacular. If I describe it using enough words, Nate will remind me what the word I'm looking for is.
So you said
thank you, consignment. Yeah, consignment. So there you go. It's like, so again, that is because, but the thing is, like, I didn't give you title because you can come back in and take the thing back at any time, usually under a consignment deal. So I'm giving you the antique to sell on my behalf. If you sell it, you give me a cut, but I can come back in and take back the thing. So I didn't transfer you title, but I'm giving you the power to negotiate this, and it's called consignment. So there's another example for you as we all try to study for the bar exam together. Fun times. All right, great. They say Carvana will still be allowed to deliver vehicles that have already been purchased, but prohibited from making any new sales. He said the suspension will remain in place until the company fixes all existing issues. And the Secretary of State has encouraged buyers with issues with their title to file a complaint with the Illinois Secretary of the State Police, because we'd like to know that they're not giving you the fundamental thing they're required to give you, which is the thing that you purport to buy. So that is the fundamental problem on top of any other problems. My top commitment is in protecting the interests and well-being of Illinois consumers. I applaud the Illinois Secretary of State Police for their ongoing effort to protect consumers. We'll do everything we can to ensure that each consumer is properly served. Well, nice for Illinois for doing something to protect consumers once. So that was nice. Thank you so much for being part of the Uncivil Law family. If you enjoyed this legal education content, please hit the subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow. We appreciate your continuing support. And until later, my friends, cheers and goodbye.